Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a cloth pad kind of tutorial. Let me first off say, yes, I'm aware there's black stuff on my head. It is Ash Wednesday. I am Catholic and I wanted to stay on my filming schedule I kind of made for myself. So I'm sorry if it's a little bit distracting, but it is what it is. I wanted to get this done. First, I'm going to talk about the materials I'm using and then kind of go step by step with my process. Let me say ahead of time, this is not a professional video. I'm not a professional seamstress. I'm not even I'm not even that great at sewing. This is just my Pinterest, YouTube knowledge that I have learned that I'm sharing with you guys. I will try to find where I actually, the ecofriendlyfamily.com is where I got these patterns from, and there is a girl that does YouTube tutorials, and her tutorial might be better for cloth pads. I'll link it below. At the moment I cannot think of her name, but I watched her to kind of watch how she sewed and to kind of construct it, because all this website had was patterns. So I based my construction of my pads off of that and my patterns off of this website. But you can also take pads like plastic pads you have or disposable ones and put them on paper and trace them if that's a size you like, and use that as a pattern and still do the construction the way I do, but just use that as a pattern. Part of the reason that I know cloth pads aren't for anyone, and honestly they weren't for me. The only reason I switched over to them was I know I should be like for the environment, but I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and my one of my OBs, I've had several over the years, told me that it is better for women with PCOS to use either cloth pads or chemical-free pads, because we have a higher risk of reproductive cancer, and anything we can do to kind of lower that risk is great. So my choice was to just go with cloth pads because they're reusable. It's a one-time investment. I mean, eventually I'm sure I'll have to buy more. My experience going online and seeing how much cloth pads were, I decided I could kind of do it myself. When I saw the price, they're not horrible, but when you have to buy a lot, if you have, for instance, a heavier period, it adds up. I know it's a kind of like, oh, you're investing in it and it's not disposable, so it lasts longer, and they do last, but it was my choice to make my own. So I did use these two as my favorite. This is called the overnight, but I actually prefer it over the, this is the daytime pad, but it's more like panty liner for me. And then this is the overnight pad, is what I use the most. I'm going to show you guys my pads in a second. So I keep my cloth pads in a container like this. I have been through, I wanted to make sure I went through and had an actual period before I decided to start trying to teach you guys how to do this, just in case it didn't work like well. So I'm going to show you guys just some of my cloth pads. I don't think any of them are actually stained, and if you want a video on how I just want to make sure there's no stains on any of the ones I'm showing, because that would be gross. But if you guys want a tutorial on, if you guys want to know how I clean them, I can do that in a separate video. Leave me a comment below. But these are just some of the pads I made. This is one of the panty liners. This is the overnight size. On some of these I varied in thickness, and I can just tell by feeling them. I have used all of these. I tried another design and tried to go all the way around with the stitch. As you can see, I'm not a great seamstress. It was kind of difficult. This one, just to show you my cleaning method works, has actually been used, and it's still like super white and bright. I'm sure eventually that could get stained. And then here's another overnight one and another one like that. So that's just the ones I made and what I'm going to show you to make today. And I'm sorry if my dog is really loud in the background. Okay, so besides these, the other things I use is I made this kind of on my own. I measured inside the pad for what I put inside to kind of make it easier. I just trace around the material I use on the inside as filler and absorbent stuff. So I made 2 of those, so one for the smaller one and one for the bigger one. And then for the back of the pads, I have been using a, I keep wanting to say flannel, but it's a very like fleece, I believe that's what this is. It's like a thick fleecy material that actually kind of repels moisture to keep it from leaking through. It was a fear of mine, it was a fear of mine that it would be almost like, I don't know, hot, like it would make it like hot down there, but I feel like plastic on the bottom of pads make it a little more like sweaty and gross and hot down there than the fleece. That's just me. Then for the top, I've been using all different kinds of material. You can use different kinds of material. Obviously, you don't want to use the fleece stuff because then that would be a disaster. But this is kind of like a flannelly soft material on top. This is what I'm going to be using today, and the bottom just feels like a regular cotton material. I've used cotton, minxie, flannel, all kinds of stuff. They all seem to work well, like terry cloth. Okay, so in the middle, the material I've been using, I don't see, this is where I fail at this kind of tutorial stuff, this kind of tutorial miserably. I'm not exactly sure what this material is. I don't remember. But it's kind of the same thing that you make receiving blankets in. I want to say it's very soft on both sides, but it just felt like it would be super absorbent, and it actually was. I want to say it's a flannel, but a flannel on both sides, and it's just a white. It's pretty thin, and I build it up. I'll usually do 4 or 5. Today I'm going to do 5, so like an overnight pad, 5 of these. But you can use the same thing burp cloths are made of. You can use cotton. You can use, I've heard that bamboo does really well. This is just what I use because it's cheap. And this, you know, I didn't really know what I was doing when I started, and I just kind of went with it, and luckily it worked out for me. But this has been working out great. I really think this is the material they use for receiving blankets. Pretty sure that, I don't know what that stuff's officially called, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so I just cut some of the flannelly material, whatever, I'm not sure what the official name of it is. And I'm gonna do 5 pieces. So then I just take a marker. I know, super professional, but it's a washable marker. It's non-toxic. It's just what I use because I have not picked up proper pins yet or whatever. It washes out. I always wash these after I sew them before I use them. And this washes right out. So then I mark out 5 of these. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It goes on the inside. Nobody sees it. As long as it is pretty much the correct shape, you're good to go. And it has just about enough for 5. I also keep a damp paper towel because, as you can see, I will get marker everywhere. Alright, so now I have 5, and then I just cut it. I'm going to cut 1 and show you guys, and then I'm going to cut the rest off camera so I save some memory on my card. So I just follow the line. It doesn't have, I'm not even in the frame. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, it's going to go on the inside. Okay. So you get the idea. I'm going to cut some more of those. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have all of those. They're all just sitting on top of one another. I'm going to put them off to the side. Then the next thing I do is I just unfold the fabric I'm using and lay it out. So I'm using this pattern. Oh, this is, I'm sorry if my hands get in the way some of the time, but then it's really simple. Again, well, I don't know why I'm not, okay, I'm just outlining the, Sorry, I can't talk and outline at the same time. It's kind of like rubbing your head and rubbing your belly and patting your head. I'm just not the type that can do those things. So I'm kind of wipe off my pattern. These patterns, when I printed them, I put a not laminate. I didn't laminate them, but I put contact paper on them. So I used to outline with that on the purple as well. But I'm going to show you guys the very first mistake I made on my very first pad was not giving enough space around my outline, because I am not great at sewing. The curved lines were really hard for me to get used to, and I noticed the more space you give yourself, the easier it is. And even that being said, I'm not super great at that. At the curve still, these aren't the most perfect pads ever, but you guys wanted to see how I made them, so just gonna show you guys. Now, I know most people are really big at pinning and stuff, pinning things. I'm the worst about that. I don't know, pinning, I'm not that great at pinning, we'll just say that. So I'm just going to pin at the top and bottom, and once I get going, I actually remove the pins. I'm gonna do this one here. So this is the first thing you want to do. You want to, on the back of the pad, so this is going to be the top, on the back, you know what, I'm just going to pin from the bottom because that's what works best for me. I am laying what's going to be the inside. I should be using a darker thread, but today I'm just going to use white. I'm sorry. Anyway, so I've got it laid out. I'm going to lift my foot. Okay, now everyone's sewing machine's different. I'm lucky enough to have like a high-tech one that does all this different stuff. For this, I like to use a fun stitch, so I'm going to do one that's fun without having to change my foot. So smooth this out one more time. Going to bring it. All this is doing is connecting the absorbing pads to the top layer of your pad so that the absorbing layers don't shift around and stuff like that. So now that I've got my foot down, I remove my pins, and again, however pinning works for you, you can do. I'm pretty comfortable without pins. This is something that goes in my underwear and people don't see. So a few stitches, then a back stitch it, and then you're just going to take it down. And these don't have to be perfectly lined up. It's okay if some of them stick out more than others. Let me see how far. Okay. Sometimes I take it all the way up to here, and sometimes I don't. I'm gonna back stitch again. 3. Okay. Lift it. And as you guys can see, now you can see better on the side. It is kind of stitched in. And I was actually only going to do 2, but I think I'm going to do 3 so I can show you how it is when I do 3. When I do 3, I always start, okay, put it all the way up on here. I always do both the ends first, and then I go back and do the middle. Stitch. And again, I'm just back stitching so it holds. I didn't, this has got to be the worst tutorial ever. If you care, this sounds terrible to say if you care, but I'm trying to do this tutorial so it doesn't last forever, and being a perfectionist isn't really on my mind with this. Usually I'm kind of a perfectionist, but again, this goes in my underwear. I usually try to, when I'm not in a rush, I usually try to make sure, see the lines right here match up. When I first started, I wasn't paying attention, and this one's a little longer, which is, you know, it's not anything that's going to affect the pad. It's just me being really particular. Okay, I'm going to do one more down the middle. It's so funny because I'm probably the worst person in the world to do these to do any kind of tutorials or to explain anything. I am such a nut job. Like, I have the worst time explaining things or giving directions. I don't know. Like, I did fine when I did teaching, but I guess that's different when it's little kids. But I'm just not great at tutorial videos, y'all. I'm a little bit dingy. Back it up. I always go back 3 times and then try to go back over 3. 3 more. And that's just what works for me. Tiny little ones. Okay, so as you can see, that's done. This, these absorbent layers are not going anywhere. This also keeps it from, like, since it's cloth, like bunching up and doing weird things in your underwear. That's why you can do 2, but I tend to like the 3. On the panty liner style or the daytime style, I will usually just do the 2 lines though. Okay. I don't exactly have like a sewing table I can go to that I can cut stuff on either, so this is just like a convenience thing when I cut stuff all crazy like this. Okay. Alright, so the great thing is there's no right or wrong side on these. And because you're laying it on top and turning it inside out, and this kind of felt material really grabs onto the material on top, I don't have to actually like cut or draw the pattern on the other side too. So I just kind of do this. And I set it on there, and then I kind of cut it to the same blobby shape. This is the time where I actually do use pins. And I will do one here. I don't use a lot of pins on this. I always kind of take my pins when I do use them, and I know that I feel like when I took a class when I was younger, literally I took class when I was younger, we got to patterns, and then my mom pulled us out of the class because she just didn't have time for it with all our sports and stuff. So that's the only sewing experience I've had. But I've always felt you should follow the pattern you're sewing rather than a particular, I don't like the way that is, a particular, I don't know, some people pin differently. I pin in the direction I'll be sewing. So I'll be sewing this way on those and the other way on those. Anyway, again, I'm terrible with descriptions. This is going to be kind of, I'm going to try to zoom in on this for you guys. It is extremely hard to set up this camera and do this, so I hope this angle is okay. Okay, if you guys watch the tutorial that I linked below, you will see she does it in her own way. That's the wrong way. In her own way, I'm going to do it down the middle. And I do it in my own way. I don't start where she starts, I don't believe. And I finish it off differently, as you will see. Okay, and I just put it back to a basic, let me make sure, yeah, a basic stitch. And at first, when I first started trying to do this, I had it really slow, and it does not go well when it's super slow. So I keep it on medium. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, if I get in the way of the camera, I'm sorry. I just need to focus on what I'm doing and following the line. Yep, I'm totally outside the line on that one. Sometimes that happens, and it's okay. If I go too slow, the seam I'm doing ends up crooked. If I go too fast, sometimes it gets away from me before I can turn it. I'm still learning, guys. I'm going to take this pin out too now because we're so close to that side. There we go. That's better, Heather. Yeah, it's bunching there. That like never happens. I hope none of you are like super seamstresses, because then I'll feel like y'all will be like, this is the worst sewing tutorial I've ever seen. It probably is. But I never said I was good. But my pads do hold up. That's a good thing. They've held up to washings already. Just gonna... You know what I should have checked? Oh, please. Lord. Okay, good. There's no... Oh, I thought I didn't check. I always check your bobbin. Always. And I didn't. That's gonna be crazy. Okay, I'm getting... Oh, Lord, Lord, back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. Hopefully I just gave myself enough room to turn this inside out. Okay, yeah, that should be enough room. Okay, so now I gotta cut like this. Got kind of crazy on me here. Now I'm going to show you guys this side. Now I'm going to go around and cut it super close. Actually, yeah, I don't want to cut too much of that off. Then put this over here at the scraps. This is the fun part. Not really. Oh my Lord. This is going to be like the one time I didn't give myself enough space or something. Oh, okay. Just going to start flipping it inside out. Whoop, 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 whoop. Take my scissors, stick them in here, and pop the corners out. Oh my gosh. Some of them get really nuzzled in there. Just gotta pop them out. Okay, so that is the basic pattern. You know what? Usually when I do these, I try to put a character in the middle, but at least I got part of them on there. So this part, you just turn it in like so. Usually, to be honest, I do it popped out because nobody sees this and I'm not like selling these or something online. So, and usually I would use a darker material or a darker thread for this material, but it's whatevs. Oh. I feel like this is going to be the worst one ever. Yeah. I hate that. But, okay, so let's talk about why I hate this. Usually what I tend to do with these is instead of doing the folding part, I will just leave it out and then sew it and then cut. And it actually, I'll show you guys what I mean. Let's find a pad like that. This pad is like that. As you can see, I sewed the seam shut and then I just cut. And it leaves a pretty nice, like it's not a terrible edge. I did it like this because it's technically how you're supposed to do it, but that honestly looks hideous. Okay, now to the last part. I put snaps on mine and I got this snap presser thing. I don't remember what, there's like a technical name for it. I am the worst tutorial person ever. So what you're going to do is you're going to poke holes in the sides. I'm going to start with this side. Poke my hole. I usually like leave it there for a second. These are going to have, both sides are going to have one of these things with the spikes. Don't know if that's a proper way of saying it. And then one side's going to have one kind of snap and the other is going to have the other kind, obviously. Okay. So, let's get a little violent with this. One side you're going to have the smooth, soft thing, like facing down. Okay, see, like that. This one's kind of close to the edge, but that's okay. And then, let's see. Oh yeah, a good tip so you don't mess this up is always take one of each kind out. And because the first time we used these, it was terrible. We took two from the same package because we didn't take the opposite kinds out first. So it's got, this brand has like stars on the sides you're supposed to face down. So then you put the soft, oh, you can't see me. You put this soft side in here and the other side on this. I'm going to try to like press it down first. Okay. Get it situated in there. Okay, I've got it situated in there as you can see. And get a little better situated. And you just squeeze it. And that's that. So that's that side. So on this side we had this flat thing up. So on this side it's going to be here. Seriously. I do apologize for this tutorial, guys. When you guys asked for it, I was like, this is going to be so bad. I'm like such a mess. Such a mess. So like, yeah, like I said, this, well, sometimes it's hard to find your hole in the fleece. There we go. Nope. I'm going to have to repoke it. I might like really work this. Okay, there we go. There it is. All right, and the opposite one this time. Oh, see, let me show you guys. Hopefully you can see. There's kind of like a focus, kind of like a star pattern. That's how you know it goes down. Ow. I do not suggest that. Yikes. I tried to like pop it into place so we didn't have the issue of last time, but that really hurt. Okay. Can you guys see? It's in there. And then I'm just going to squeeze. And it's actually like, I was really worried that it would be hard to squeeze because of my fibro, and sometimes my hands hurt. Sometimes it kind of gets stuck in this thing, but you just gotta pull it a little bit. It comes out. And then you just, well, boom. And that's your cloth pad. Let me zoom this out. That's your cloth pad tutorial, guys. That is how it looks on your underwear, just like a regular pad, and then you pop it off. So yeah. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys want to know anything else about them, how to wash them, how I take care of them, or what have you, whatnot, just leave me a comment below, and I will see y'all later. Bye!